Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping right in today because we've got some seriously cool, budget-friendly audio hardware to look at. We're talking about the DJI Mic Mini, a piece of gear that has been making massive waves in the creator community lately. We're going to break down the whole shebang, the features, the incredibly tiny design, and yes, even the compromises, just to see if it actually lives up to all the hype.
Okay, let's dive into this. This is the big million-dollar question we're answering today. Can a microphone that weighs just 10 grams and comes in at a highly accessible price point actually deliver professional-grade audio? Because look, for years, creators have struggled with heavy, bulky audio gear that pulls down their shirts or practically requires an engineering degree to set up. We're here to find out if this ultra-lightweight tech solves those headaches without sacrificing the quality we all desperately need.
So here is our roadmap for the explainer. First, meet the Mic Mini. Then, tiny but mighty hardware. Foolproof audio features, pushing the limits. The catch, known downsides. And finally, pricing and the verdict.
Section 1. Meet the Mic Mini. Unboxing the solution. Alright, so what do you actually get? Well, the $169 primary kit is surprisingly comprehensive. You're getting 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, and a really slick dedicated charging case. They throw in both USB-C and 3.5mm cables for your cameras and computers, plus phone adapters. Oh, and you get 2 wind muffs, one black, one gray, for those breezy outdoor shoots. But here's the brilliant part. The charging case is designed to cleverly hold the phone adapters and the wind muffs right inside the lid. It's just a perfectly compact, all-in-one setup that you can toss in your backpack without stressing about losing those tiny little pieces.
Section 2. Tiny but mighty hardware. The weight problem solved.
10. Yep, 10 grams per transmitter. I mean, that is ridiculously light. It's almost half the size of its bigger brother, the DJI Mic 2. And honestly, this weight is an absolute game changer. It means the mic is incredibly discreet and practically feather-light when you clip it on.
You know the struggle. Older, heavier wireless mics are notorious for awkwardly pulling down the neckline of a standard t-shirt. They stick out like a sore thumb, they're bulky, and they're just plain uncomfortable. But the DJI Mic Mini completely flips the script. It uses magnets to attach seamlessly to your clothing, keeping your wardrobe lines looking sharp. And smartly, they even released a white version, so if you're wearing a light-colored shirt, it just blends right in. You genuinely barely notice it's there.
Now you'd think something this tiny would die in an hour, right? Nope. It boasts a massive 11-hour battery life per transmitter. Put that into perspective for a second. When you pair that kind of longevity with the fact that they charge every single time you pop them back into the case, and add in the auto-off feature that powers the mic down after 15 minutes of inactivity, battery anxiety is basically gone. You just don't have to sweat this thing dying on you in the middle of a shoot.
Section 3. Foolproof audio features. Software that saves the take.
Now, what's really interesting about the software side of things is the built-in audio limiter. Basically, imagine you suddenly burst out laughing or yell really loudly. This limiter instantly kicks in to correct that spike so your audio doesn't digitally clip and sound distorted. On the flip side, if you drop your voice down to a really soft whisper, it actively boosts the volume up. It essentially makes the whole system foolproof, especially if you're a one-person crew and you literally don't have the time to stare at audio meters all day while trying to actually be entertaining on camera. The flexibility here is also fantastic. Just by double-clicking the Connect button, you can toggle right through 3 different recording modes. You've got the combined track, where both mics are baked together into one file, perfect if you want to skip the editing and post right away. Then you have separate channels, which isolates the 2 transmitters to the left and right tracks so you can easily tweak or mute one person's voice later. And then there's the third option, which is just an incredible safety net.
That third mode is mono with a safety track. So it records your main audio at your normal level, but at the exact same time, it records a secondary backup track at a significantly lower volume. This right here, total lifesaver. Because if something crazy happens, like a siren blares right as you're speaking, or you accidentally scream and blow out the main track, you have this quieter, perfectly clean backup waiting for you.
And I gotta say, actually setting all this up is wonderfully straightforward. Step 1, you just pull the receiver and transmitters from the case and they automatically power on and sync up. Step 2, and I love this, you use a physical, tactile dial on the receiver to adjust your gain from -12 to +12. No swiping through clunky digital menus on a tiny screen. And step 3, that 3.5mm jack actually doubles as a headphone output so you can monitor your audio live if you're plugged directly into a smartphone.
Section 4. Pushing the limits, range, and ecosystem.
When it comes to wireless range, DJI claims some big numbers, and the real-world testing totally backs them up. It maintained a flawless connection at over 300 feet during walking tests. I mean, that's essentially a football field of distance without dropping the signal. Now, sure, most of us will never ever need to be a football field away from our camera, but it is incredibly reassuring to know the transmission is just that rock solid.
But honestly, where the Mic Mini really flexes its muscles is within the broader DJI ecosystem. If you happen to shoot on an Osmo Action 4, an Action 5, or the massively popular Pocket 3, the transmitter connects directly to the camera via Bluetooth. Let me repeat that. You don't even need the receiver. It makes for the most minimalist vlogging setup imaginable. Even cooler, you can just click the connect button on the mic itself to remotely start and stop your video recording. So seamless.
Section 5. The catch. Known downsides. So, the crucial point is, what did they have to leave out to get this mic so small and affordable? Let's be completely objective here and look at the trade-offs. First up, there is no internal recording on the transmitters. That means you don't get that 32-bit float audio backup inside the mic if your wireless connection completely drops. Second, the receiver base is a little bulky. If you plug it straight into the bottom of a phone, it sticks out at a slightly awkward angle. Third, there's no 3.5mm input on the transmitter itself, so you can't plug a traditional hidden wired lavalier into it. And finally, while it connects beautifully to DJI cameras without a receiver, if you try to connect the mic directly to your smartphone via Bluetooth, the audio quality takes a serious hit. You absolutely still need to use that bulky receiver for good phone audio. So the baseline sound is fantastic, but the lack of true pro features like internal backup or lavalier support might be a sticking point for high-end professionals.
Section 6. Pricing and the verdict.
All right, let's talk dollars and cents. DJI has set up a really competitive pricing structure here. The full kit with the charging case and the 2 mics is $169. If you're running solo and don't mind charging via USB instead of a case, you can grab 1 transmitter and 1 receiver for just $89. But look at option number 3. If you already own a compatible DJI camera like the Pocket 3, you can buy a standalone transmitter for $59. Honestly, that standalone option is an absolute steal if you just want to instantly upgrade your existing camera's audio.
So it all really boils down to this core trade-off. Pro-level microphones are expensive, they're definitely bulkier, but they give you those bulletproof safety nets like internal 32-bit float recording and lavalier inputs. The DJI Mic Mini, though, it's highly affordable, it is ridiculously ultralight, and it focuses 100% on delivering the foolproof basics. You're effectively trading those advanced professional safety nets for unmatched portability and absolute ease of use.
Which brings us to the ultimate verdict from our source material, summarized perfectly in this quote right here. For the money, I think this is the best price to performance, a seamless, foolproof design. For the everyday creator who just wants great-sounding audio without wrestling with complex setups, the value here is basically undeniable.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. Look at your own production style. Are those missing pro features like internal recording or a dedicated jack for a lavalier a true deal breaker for how you work? Or has this tiny, lightweight, incredibly budget-friendly gear finally caught up to exactly what you need? Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer today. Keep learning, keep creating, and we'll see you next time.